Hi, this is Brittany Matthews, and welcome to the Promotion Lady Show.
The Promotional Lady Show is as real as it gets. She's putting it down for you. I said you haven't seen nothing yet. The Promotional Lady Show, putting the real back into reality. Come on and join us. Yeah, the spoken truth you will see.
I've had with me Tyrone Hutchinson, a very inspiring and passionate individual who loves the Lord and loves what he's doing. Please, Ty, introduce yourself to the public.
Well, I'm a barber here in Columbia. I own my own barber shop. I've been cutting hair for almost 13 years, and I've been owning my own shop now for about 6 years, going on 7 years. So, I thank God for the things that He has done for me in my life so far. And I'm just, excited about what the future holds.
Wonderful. And I know you're very impactful within the community that I've been hearing, of course. So tell us, what was really your turning point in your life? Because I know you have a lot of great things going for you right now, but please share with us what it took for you to get to where you are now.
Well, what it took for me to get where I am now, I grew up in the church, and my father was a preacher. My stepfather, he's a preacher, and I didn't want to be labeled the church boy, and my parents always told us to stay away from the guys up the street, and don't go here and don't go there. And the more they would say it, the more I was interested in that type of lifestyle and the things that were going on outside of the church. So every chance that I got, I crept away to go hang with the guys up the street. Even though I wasn't fitting in, I would do things that was a little extra worse than what they were doing to fit in.
to try to fit in, right?
To try to fit in, exactly.
And you still stood out.
Still stood out like a sore thumb. So as I continued to hang with them, the more and more I became addicted to the marijuana, addicted to the street life, addicted to the alcohol. And it became a downward spiral of that type of lifestyle, because I started doing those things while I was still in school.
And that consumed you.
It really did, because it allowed me to cut class and begin to fail classes, and it just was an addictive thing for me, or the weed was addictive, But anyway, that lifestyle caused me to start getting in more and more trouble. Even got expelled from school. I had to graduate from high school, from summer school. And my parents, especially my mom, was more and more frustrated with me. And when I graduated from high school, I attended Midlands Tech College and couldn't finish school because of the smoking, the drinking, and the hanging out with the guys. Still on that, And when it was interesting to me, it was something that I was acting to try to fit in. But when it got a hold of me, it was a different thing now. It's something you can't just let go. Yeah. Anything that the enemy has presented to you, it only takes God to deliver you out of it.
That's right.
And that lifestyle has gotten a hold of me in a very horrible way, because I really couldn't keep a good job. I couldn't stay in school, and my mom, she put me out of the house, and that really caused me to get into drug selling and things like that.
Because you had to have it.
I had to have it.
Like that was your thing to have.
And that was the world that I allowed myself to be around. And I was closed-minded at that time.
So how did you get out, Elder?
Well, I got involved with this guy where we began to commit burglaries and all kinds of crazy things like that. So I already had warrants and marijuana charges and things like that. But the burglary charge, the grand larceny charges that I got had really, really put a hold on my life, because I went to jail for that. I did prison time for the burglary and for the grand larceny. And the ride from Albanese Glen down to Broad River Correction really was a turning point in my life. On that ride in the prison bus was when I made up my mind that I'm never coming back here again. This lifestyle is not for me, and I don't belong here.
Right.
And I promised myself and I promised God that this was it for me. And it really felt like I told you earlier, like a ride to hell. It felt like I was going to hell. And when I got down to Burt Friday Drive to go down to Kirkland Correction, they shave off all my hair, take all my belongings away, put me on state clothes, and they evaluate me and send us to a holding place, which this holding place was down the hill in these old ran down buildings that looked like they were built in the early 1900s.
So it was like bars on for windows.
Yes,
back in the day.
There were bars on windows with no window panes, just bars on windows, no doors, no lights on the inside, but just caged rooms in these buildings. And these buildings was on small hills. And we were in line with the guys that I came in with, walking down this hill toward these old shabby buildings. And there were people, these guys was hollering out the window.
No, sir.
They were hollering so loud that the ground was shaking.
No, sir.
We were already afraid, but people try to act like tough guys.
Yeah.
But it was so intimidating that a lot of guys in line were crying. Seriously.
Yeah.
And we walking down this hill, and the guard, he would drop certain guys off at different buildings. And when I got to the building where I was at, it was this old white guy sticking his head out the window. "Hey boy, I'm gonna rape you to die."
No, sir.
And we were like, what in the world? What did we get into?
That's crazy.
What is this? It felt like hell. Like these was demons hollering out. I don't know if God had me to see it that way, but as I walked into the building that I was going to, I seen graffiti all over the walls, satanic symbols, these guys looked like caged animals in this place. But the atmosphere had changed, because by the time we came in, everyone got quiet. I guess they wanted to kind of feel you out.
Scope you out.
And so when they sent me to the room where I was going, it was the very guy that stuck his head out the window that was hollering.
I would have been through right there. Like,
So,
sir.
by this time I'd been saved, because I was in Albanese Glen probably for like 5 or 6 months already. And so I was saved, and I went in, I had my Bible, and the guy didn't say anything to me at first. But you know what? As time went on, because we were there for 2 weeks, it was like a holding cell until they sent us off to wherever we were going.
So that wasn't even the final destination.
That's the very beginning. The very beginning.
All right, go. Okay.
And so, we were there about 2 weeks together. But during the time that we were there, he would still holler when new guys would come. He would still curse and act a fool. But I would mostly just sit on my bunk and read my Bible. But one particular day, it had to be around 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening. And he came to me and said, "Hey man, let's read the book of Revelations together." I said, "Yeah, of course, I'll read the Bible with you." And as we sat down, we began to read the book of Revelations. And it was on his turn. And we got to chapter 4, verse 1, one verse that I will never forget. And he read the verse which went, "Come up here, my son, because there's things that I want to show you hereafter." When he read that, he burst out into tears, crying like a baby.
So now he's the one that's crying like a baby.
He's the one that's crying like a baby. And I did not know what to do. I was just sitting there. I never experienced anything like this. And he was crying. And I said, "Hey man, you all right?" And he said, "God just patted me on my shoulder and told me to come here, my son." And as soon as he said that, the sun shined so bright in on both of us.
Wow.
And I knew that God was pleased. And I would never forget that experience with him. And after we sat that night and read the entire book of Revelations.
Wow.
And I don't believe either one of us was the same after that.
How could you be?
And the book of Revelations also says at the end of the book that blessed is the man that reads this book. You know, so I would never forget that. But not only that, but God has shown himself to me so many times in the prison. And, you know, where there's darkness, there is light. Mm-hmm. But the darkest places on earth is where God can show his light the most. And God has shown himself to me in so many different ways and performed so many miracles for me while I was back there, you know, and I was really being used by God. There was less distraction. There wasn't any social media. I didn't watch TV much. I kind of stayed in my word a lot, you know, and a lot of guys told me that I had a glow on my face, you know, and I couldn't wait to get up out of there, of course.
Of course, yeah. So
time came for me to make parole, and I fasted and prayed, and I believed that God was going to send me home. And I would have people tell me, you don't know if you're going home. I understand if you got faith, but you don't know if you're going home. I said, I am. I'm going home.
You're convinced that you're going to go home.
I was totally convinced that God was going to send me home. And the group of guys I went up with, we all went up for parole. The first guy shot down, second guy shot down. Now I'm nervous, I'm scared.
Because you're seeing everybody else, what they went through.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I went up for it and I made parole. Even though I was afraid, God rewarded me for my faith that I lived out before then.
That's right.
You know, so when I got out on parole, I was out and I was committed to the lifestyle that God had already began in me in prison. It wasn't a jailhouse religion for me. I was serious about the relationship that I had with
living life after
Jesus.
Prison.
Right.
Right.
So the very day that I got out, that evening, all my old friends and guys from the neighborhood showed up at my mom's house. Mm-hmm. They got bottles of liquor, blunts, beer, everything. So I go outside and I greeted everybody, and somebody came up to me, hey man, you want to hit the blunt? And I said, no, I don't smoke no more. I don't drink no more. Oh man, you know, somebody did tell us that, you know, you changed your life. But they still came.
They still came. To celebrate, right?
So I said, yeah, you know, God changed my life. I'm a Christian now. So people started gradually leaving the house. Mm-hmm. But there was one guy that stayed. And he was just wondering, how could you change? What happened? And I began to tell him, be a witness to him and tell him how God changed my life. And I wanted to take him to the Word of God, so we went in the house and I began to expound on the Word with him. And he would come around every now and then, but he gradually went back, you know. Yeah. But I just thank God for the change that he has done in my life. And now as a barber and as a barbershop owner, you know, and an instructor, I want to be a help and an encouragement to our youth. You know, because the world we live in today, you know, there's so many different kinds of doctrines and so many different things that we can attach to that's not truth.
That's not the will of God.
That's not the will of God. And, you know, there's so many counterfeit things out there. Mm-hmm. But there's only one true way. And just like you say in your business, keep God in your business. As long as we keep God first and pursue our purpose with a passion, he would reward us.
That's right. And that reward is everlasting life.
Amen.
And then having life now more abundantly than what we can ever imagine.
That's right.
So I thank God that, like, you really blew me away with your story. Like, I would have never thought that, like, Elder Ty, the sweetest guy you could ever meet, always having a smile on his face, always doing an excellent job, that you went through all of that just to get to here where God placed you. And you're doing a phenomenal job.
Wow. I really appreciate it. And you're doing a phenomenal job yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. So
I have a few things that I'm planning to do in the future.
Yay!
So with much prayer and much preparation, hopefully we can get a rescue mission started. And that's the next thing that I have in my mind right now.
That sounds good. Well, share us a piece of advice you can give to our audience to take home.
Well, if I have any advice that I would share, it would be to continue to push forward and pursue your purpose with a passion. Each and every one of us have a gift on the inside that God has put there. And if you don't know what it is, just simply ask God, what am I put on earth to do? We all have a destiny, we all have a purpose, and it's up to us to decide to reach out and find out what it is. There's a scripture in Psalms that says that the deep reaches unto the deep. And the depthness that's inside of me and how I can get it is reaching the depthness of who God is. Once I find out who God is and get the revelation of Jesus Christ, I will begin to know who I am. And this is how we can pursue our purpose.
Wow. Pursue your purpose with passion. And if you don't know who you want to be or who you are, ask God. Ask God to show you who you are. Wow, Elder Tyrone. Thank you so much, Elder Tyrone, for being a guest on the Promotion Lady Show.
Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, thank you. And of course, you can find this video on TPL Network on Roku TV. Also streamed through our mobile app, The Promotion Lady. Also throughout all social media. Thank you all so much for watching and have a blessed day.